Hi. So clearly, I like the Batman mythos. I think that the whole Batman story is actually probably some of the best storytelling in comic books, period. I think the best is The Blackest Night, which really doesn't involve Batman at all. But No Man's Land and The Cataclysm are incredible. And I would love to have a really long running Batman TV show that actually takes everything seriously and shows the evolution of, him becoming Batman and then him becoming really dark and going a little bit too far, and then him bringing Dick in, and then Dick kind of revitalizes why he's doing it, not to punish criminals, but to keep other people safe. And then Dick kind of starts to resent Batman a lot, and then grows apart from him, and actually winds up leaving in anger. And then Batman adopts Jason Todd, and then the Joker kills Jason Todd, and Batman goes really crazy on criminals from that point on, and actually nearly kills a couple of people. And then Tim comes and shows him the error of his ways. And meanwhile, Batgirl's involved inside of all of it. I love that entire saga, and I would love to see it told really well inside of visual medium. I guess you could do a long-running animated series too, but I really want that told, cutting out all the fluff that the comic books have had to have, just because, you come up with different stories and they didn't quite have like a plan, but cutting out all of that fluff and just really showing the building of the Batman universe. So as you can see, I think about Batman a lot, and I also love music, and I am here to give you the suggestion that Michael Giacchino's Batman theme inside of the recent The Batman movie is brilliant. But it's brilliant because of Danny Elfman's Batman theme. I'm not an expert in music. I dabble at the absolute best, and I've had no formal training. I only took guitar lessons about 2 years. But I love music, and I love storytelling, and the ways that music can be used to tell stories is a fascinating and deeply underappreciated art form that I love helping / forcing people to appreciate. So for you to accept my thesis that Giacchino's Batman theme is brilliant because of Danny Elfman's Batman theme, I need you to accept a couple of premises. The first, I don't think it'll take much of a stretch for you to accept it, and that is that music does not exist in a vacuum. Also, I'd like to ask you to be forgiving about my lack of piano skills. It is not my instrument. Also, the audio is a little wonky because I literally just put an iPhone on a piano, so if you could just accept that, that would be great for all of us. Okay, music does not exist in a vacuum, and what I mean by that is that music has been around for thousands of years and has been evolving for centuries, and what different artists do affects the artists that come after them. As an example of that, did you know that there is a musical melody that means death? Here it is. So why does that mean death? Its first known use was at the beginning of a Gregorian chant centuries ago that went like this. It's called Dies Irae, which means Day of Wrath, and it's about Jesus returning to earth to judge the living and the dead for all of their sins, and then destroy the earth. So that was used inside of various masses for hundreds of years, and then in 1830, Berlioz decided to include the Dies Irae melody inside of his Symphonie Fantastique for the demonic orgy segment of The Witch's Sabbath. Read that sentence to your parents if they ever complain about you listening to Metallica. He essentially put the Dies Irae in there as kind of like a personal joke. Symphonie Fantastique is about a man who falls asleep on a mountain and then wakes up in the bushes next to a witch's Sabbath. He's trying to stay hidden, and this is the closest that he gets to being found and killed. So Berlioz used a melody that everybody knows and associates with the concept of destruction. After he did that, though, other composers copied him to show that they were in on the joke, and the next thing you know, it kind of became a shorthand to express life-threatening danger, and it is everywhere. Star Wars, The Shining, Lion King, Nightmare Before Christmas,
Making Christmas,
Home Alone, Stranger Things, and that's not even scratching the surface. Composers take their job very seriously because, as Wagner once said, and I reported recently, the actors can lie, but the orchestra never does. So that melody is really only used when characters are in danger, except for Frozen 2, which is badly written. Home Alone also doesn't, but it actually has a reason, and it's brilliant. And I will make a video about that later. Composers even like to hide it and reference it in fun ways. The Jaws theme references it without technically ever actually playing it. It's essentially like if a composer wrote a piece that briefly references a Taylor Swift song, and then other composers copy it, and 60 years later, that melody means don't date that guy. We actually have versions of this with songs already. If two characters meet and Lionel Richie's Hello starts playing, you know that at least one of them is already in love. Born to be Wild means someone's about to do something crazy, usually while using a vehicle. So getting back to my premise of music does not exist in a vacuum, there are tons of examples of music meaning things because of past compositions. Because of Mission Impossible and James Bond, jazz became the music of spies and heists, and using it is kind of expected for that kind of a story. Sideways, one of the best music channels on YouTube before he stopped making videos with no explanation and left me sad, has an amazing video on this concept that I will link below. So going way back, a musical context that predates Elfman's Batman is the fifth. The musical scale has 7 notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, then back to C. So C is 1, or the root, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, the fifth. I have no idea where it started or how, but when a melody reaches the fifth, it means heroism or victory or triumph. Villain themes usually rush past the fifth if they touch it at all. John Williams is a big fan of this convention and uses it all the time. Star Wars actually starts on it, essentially. So you've got D and then G, so it's... So that starts on D, but if you do the G major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D is the fifth. So it actually starts on the fifth, then goes to the 1, and then jumps to the fifth again. Then it hits it a few more times. Oh look, a hidden DAC array. Superman, the ultimate paragon of heroism, basically jumps back and forth from the fifth to the root. Fifth, fifth, 1, fifth, fifth. 1, fifth, 1. Okay, one more thing that I need you to accept, and I think that this is the last one, is that melodies can tell a story. For heroes, the journey that it takes to get to that fifth can tell you a lot about them as a person. So Superman just jumps straight to it with no problem because that's who he is. Indiana Jones' story is great because it starts here, so the fifth is here. He doesn't just jump to heroism, he has to actually work up to it. But something really cool happens when he does. So, like I said, we're trying to get to this note. But we get this note, which is the fifth of this note. But that's not where we started. We started here. So in order to become a hero, he has to actually grow into a different key than where the music started at. It's not technically a key change, but it is for the point of this argument. But that does mean that, like Indiana Jones, the melody has to progress in order for him to become the guy he's supposed to be. But it's Indiana Jones, so he gets punched and falls down. But he's Indiana Jones, so he gets back up. So Batman is a hero, and he starts here, so he wants to end up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically, he starts here and wants to end up here, but I'm not a pianist, so we'll be avoiding sharps by playing it in A minor. So, this is Elfman's theme. It's basically that, just repeated in different ways. Even this part is the same notes, just played faster and with a different rhythm. So we start here, but he's not Superman, so he doesn't just jump to the fifth. He has to work at it, so we climb up. So let's talk about this note. There are a bunch of different scales, but the primary two are major and minor. Major is light, and minor is dark. If Batman was in major, this would be the third note, but it's in minor, so it's this note. Thus, it's called the minor third. So not only does Batman have to work at heroism, but he takes a dark route to get there. Next, we have this note. The first three were just a walk-up, but now we have a jump. But we jump to here, and the note we want is here. So we jump too far to the sixth. Batman went too far. Not only did he go too far, But this is another minor note. The major sixth is this one. But we went to here. So he went too far to a dark place. And then finally we end up here, the fifth. So now he's a hero. So this is the whole thing. A dark journey that goes too far but lands on heroism. All right, so now back to my thesis. Giacchino's theme for the Batman is better because of Elfman's theme. So what kind of Batman story is The Batman? Well, it is dark. It is actually the dimmest version of the Caped Crusader to date. Things are bad in Gotham and in his personal life, and he gets closer to killing someone than any of the other movie versions ever has. Yes, I know Ben Affleck kills a couple of guys inside of Batman v Superman, but it's different. It kind of happens inside the course of the fights that he's in, and things happen inside of the fog of war. But in the Batman, he almost straight up beats a dude who is currently helpless to death. So here's what the music does. First off, it's just 4 notes, and 3 of them are the same. It's not melodic. It almost sounds primitive. Second, another thing we haven't talked about yet. In musical storytelling, the music going up means progress, moving forward. The music going down means regression. Things are getting worse. So the original one climbs, but this one is going down. He's getting worse. But where it becomes brilliant in the context of Elfman's theme is what that 4th note is. Elfman's theme went 1, 2, 3, 6, 5. So this one, the went too far note, is the 6. And that is the note that Giacchino drops to, the too far note. And he doesn't progress past it. He just goes back to it again and again and again. On top of that, while Elfman's theme journeys to going too far, Giacchino's just drops straight to it. So, while Giacchino's theme is great, it's extra good because Elfman established the 6th as Batman's went too far note. Did Giacchino think of that and do it on purpose? Couldn't tell you, but it's pretty cool. And this is the kind of crazy stuff that comes up when you really dig into music scores. If you want to learn more stuff like this, I would highly recommend that you subscribe to the Soundtrack Show podcast and watch all of Sideways' videos on YouTube. They're both awesome and full of things like this. We'll see me next time if you subscribe. Bye.